Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So this is a bit of a first impressions video. Now we've had the opportunity to play both McCree and Widowmaker since the patches from last night. And we wanted to give you our impressions as well as a couple of impressions of your own that you sent us on Twitter, as well as some of the pros' opinions as well, which is interesting. We'll start straight with McCree, and Miska, what's your opinion on the changes to McCree's Fan the Hammer?
Right, so
what are the changes, for those that don't know?
Oh yeah, the changes are basically that you've got taken down the Fan the Hammer bullet damage, so each bullet does less damage. It was 70 damage, and now it is 45. But you also reload the have a lower cooldown on the Fan the Hammer as well. So it used to be 0.7 seconds, and now it's 0.3. And yeah, that's all the changes there. And some people argue that the damage is way too low now, and McCree is just pretty crap because he can't deal with heroes on close range as well anymore. And whilst I mean, obviously that's the case because he does less damage, simple as that. It wasn't too sort of stifling for me. I played a bit this morning, I did fairly well at some points, and I still had fun, you know. It wasn't a completely sort of broken or just dead hero. Obviously, it is you're not nearly as much of a tank killer anymore, and that kind of sucks because now you really only have Reaper on the offense class that can easily deal with the tanks quickly. So yeah, I guess it's a bit weird for McCree, who was kind of known as being a bit of a tank killer, to not be a tank killer anymore. But at the same time, I feel like it's the change suits the situation well.
Yeah, I'd agree. You still run up to a Lucio, flashbang him, and then fan the hammer and get the kill. It just means he don't do as much damage to Roadhogs, Divas. We'll talk a little bit more about hero viability now that these changes have come in, and Diva is a much stronger pick now than she ever was. But generally, yeah, I agree. It might be a little bit too much of a nerf, but I think overall he still plays well. He's not completely broken. But I just wanted to give you RTA's opinion. RTA plays a lot of McCree for Creation Esports, and he basically sent this statement saying, I think at first place the McCree nerf was not necessary. Back in a closed and open beta, nobody was complaining that McCree was OP. It was only when people started to stack the hero that there was problems, and since we now have a one hero limit in most of the tournaments, I don't see him as OP. But it might be wrong because it's his main, and I can't, I think everybody has favourites and stuff. But generally, yeah, it feels like it was probably a little bit too much of a nerf. He's not as good close range, and because he has fall-off damage at mid and long range, he's not good there either. But generally, yeah, I think McCree a little bit too weak in some stages, but I think alright, he still does okay at the same time. Now let's go over Widowmaker as well. Widowmaker's definitely one that split a lot of people, more so than McCree.
Yes, definitely.
And it split us as well. She definitely feels more clunky. For those that don't know, the general thing is that she does less damage body shots now, does the same amount with headshots, and she can't quick scope anymore. And it does feel a little bit clunky, but for me it feels okay. It slows down the pace of her, that she can't just get a chain of really quick kills together. There's a bit of a break between coming in and out of scope, and she has to wait a lot longer before she can kill people with a body shot because of the reduced damage. And you feel it might be a little bit too much, Miska? Yeah?
So I feel like that's interesting. It changes the pace of the hero, but in my opinion, the trade-off that is the clunkiness and the slower pace and so on is a bit too much. It really kind of killed my enjoyment of the hero quite a bit. And I was kind of sad to actually feel this way about it, but it really does feel different. It does feel, I feel like the pacing is different, and the quick scoping is kind of something that, for me, I just tend to aim in and out of the scope quite a lot, and now I have to get used to not pressing right click occasionally, and it means that I have to play the hero more to get used to playing a hero that I wasn't already super familiar with. So for me it creates more problems than it's worth. But yeah, that's about it for me. And like, I see it from the sort of playing side. I think you see it more from the sort of being up against side maybe. But either way, it's good that she is nerfed rather than stay the way she used to be. But maybe this was a little bit too much in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I play Widowmaker anyway is I stay in scope a lot longer than I probably should. So for me, the change to quick scoping wasn't a big one, because that's not how I personally play Widowmaker. I much more sit back, look through scope, and be patient with it, as opposed to quick scope bang, we got another amazing player in Lynx to respond to this as well. He plays a lot of Widowmaker, again for Creation Esports. And he says that Widow before the nerf changes was really mobile mid-fights, even when going for shots. Now you have to pick and choose the moment when you want to go shooting more, which is a good thing. Widow ultimate charge rate, which as well was upped by 10%, paired with the reduced body shot damage, will hopefully mean that wall hacks are going to be less of an issue. We should also see slightly less kills, probably since you can't go for fast body shots. And generally that he still thinks that she's still going to be in the meta because of the one-shot potentials, but it's going to be harder to play now. We asked Reunited as well, we didn't get much of a response back, but we did hear from Too Easy, who did tweet that Widow feels so bad now, oh my god, as well as Morte and Cruz. Morte saying, a lot more of the hero pool is viable now since McCree and especially Widow took such a hit, and Cruz put, double Winston is going to be unbelievably strong now. I really hope Play Overwatch implement one hero limits for competitive. We've already kind of discussed that, we'll probably discuss that again later down the line, so be sure to check out that. But generally, yeah, as Morte said, we're seeing more heroes come out now. We obviously guess that Zenyatta would be much more of a viable pick now that he doesn't get one shot. But also Diva we've seen a lot of as well.
Yeah, I think it's actually very interesting to see how heavily the hero pool is affected by these two nerfs in particular. And obviously it means that tanks will stay alive for longer because people won't be taking as much damage, but it also means that the lower health targets like Zenyatta, Tracer, etc. are less likely to just get one shot and picked off straight away. And this together makes for some interesting sort of meta changes. I don't know how much it will affect the meta because, you know, I don't play in the professional scene and so on. But I'm definitely looking forward to keeping an eye on it to see what people run and so on. And I want to see what happens now. Like, what does this actually bring us? Like, so maybe in 2 weeks' time, it's going to be interesting to see where we're at. Even next week and the weekend's tournament are going to be very interesting to follow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
That's pretty much all we've got to say. We did ask you on Twitter as well, which you can check us out at twitter.com/OWCentral. We asked you guys what you thought, and we got a couple of responses. Burke answered saying, good changes overall, wrong approach to Widowmaker's scope, making a hero clunkier might cause people to dislike their main. Overwatch Feed, who are great for posting fan-made content and stuff like that, but sad as a Widow player, but it's understandable and had to happen at some point. Pun said, I played Widowmaker a number of times last night, she still shreds enemies, and ult charge time felt fine. Ken Allsop said, feels good, a focus on Widow needed to hit those headshots is a good tweak, and McCree just not melting the tanks is nice too, I completely agree. And FX Saber finally says, McCree has a bare minimum maneuverability, a nerf would seem like a downsize for McCree. Do let us know in the comments what you think yourself. We did read a lot of your responses last night's video, so I'd be interested to hear what you have to say now that you've had the chance to play them both. And hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.